Hey folks, in today's short video blog, I'm going to talk a bit about how to transform your relationship and heal your relationship with your parents. That's right. It's Kute Blackson here, nationally best-selling author of You Are the One. Relationship with your parents. What comes up when I say that? Your parents, your mom, your dad. Does it stir some emotion? Does it bring up pain, hurt, shame, resentment, guilt, anger? When I say parents, what do you feel? Many of us, we feel a certain reaction when we think of our parents. I mean, maybe you love your parents, but maybe you hate your parents. Maybe you love your parents and you hate them. Maybe you love them, but there's still certain things that you feel raw about, certain wounds about, certain incomplete emotions about. Relationship with your parents can be one of the most beautiful, but also one of the most challenging relationships as a human being that you need to go through, experience, and deal with, right? It's often said if you want to find out how enlightened you are, especially for those of us that think we're spiritual, go home for the weekend, stay with your parents, and see what comes up. See how enlightened you are. Parents often know, based on our karma, based on our childhood, intentionally or unintentionally, how to just trigger that our emotion, our heart, our wounds in some way. But consider this: if you really want to transform your relationship with your parents, regardless of where you are along the spectrum, incomplete, complete, it's important that you don't just look at your parent as your parents. What if you saw it this way? That your parents aren't your parents. They don't belong to you. They belong to the universe. Your parents belong to life itself. Many times we get so attached and identified with our parents as mine. They're my parents. They belong to me, right? They're mine, and we hold on to them and we attach to them. But your parents, what if you started to see your parents as souls? That they are unique souls on a journey of evolution, in this journey of life. Also, much like yourself, they have incarnated into this human body, not as perfect people, because there's no such thing as perfection on this planet, but as souls who also have their lessons and things they're working through in their soul's curriculum. Whether they are conscious of it or not, they have their own stuff to work through. What if you saw your parents as souls on a journey much like yourself, right? That would release so much judgment and expectation. Your parents are souls on their own unique journey. What that moves us to is we have to, if you want to be free, you have to be willing to accept your parents exactly as they are. What often creates suffering with our parents is many times we have this idea and this expectation of who we want them to be and what we want them to be and how we want them to be and how we want them to treat us and be with us. Many times it comes from our pain. Many times certain needs weren't met as children, and as children, from our own pain, our own complete feelings as sort of our inner child, we put these expectations on our parents from pain or anger or hurt or resentment or just an incomplete feeling, and we want them to give us what we didn't get back then. And so it makes it really hard for us to truly, deeply accept them as they are. Because, why is it so hard? Because I think deep down there's a pain and there's a fear of, if I truly accept what they are and what they aren't, then maybe I might have to accept that I may not have the relationship I want with my parents. Maybe I'll have to accept that I'm not going to get what I want from my parents ever, and that's just it. And that can be sad. That can bring up a feeling of grieving as well. Recognize your parents are what they were. Your parents are what they were. They are what they are. They're going to be what they are until they're not. And your parents, being that they were here before you, they were likely this way before you were born. So much of how they were, much of how they are, isn't even personal. It's just where they are at their own level of consciousness in this moment. Consider that they are just doing the best that they can do based on their own conditioning, their level of their own evolution, of their consciousness at this particular moment It's not personal. It's just where they are. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make maybe some of the things, it doesn't condone some of the things they do. It doesn't condone some of the things they did, especially if in the present moment, if they're toxic or they're disrespectful or they're abusive. You may have to accept this is what they are. But now that acceptance moves you into relationship with reality. The acceptance of the reality of who they are now makes you responsible, puts the power and the choice back into your hands in terms of having to choose what you're going to do about the relationship. It might mean you have to remove yourself. It might mean you're not going to be as close, so you can only speak to them on the phone. It might mean you only see them once a month, once a year, once every few years. Whatever it means, recognize that you have a choice in this moment how you relate to your parents. It's not just about your relationship, so the acceptance frees you up if you're ready to be empowered to choose your response to your parents and how you're going to choose to interact with your parents in a way that is honoring to yourself by setting your boundaries, that is honoring to yourself in this moment. What will you choose? Ultimately, you have the power. You hold the lock, my friend. You hold the key. This moment, you have a choice right now. And it might mean you don't have the relationship that you want with them, that you always dreamed of having. And that might mean some grieving. And so one of the most freest things you can do, regardless of whether you have this relationship with your parents in your life today or you don't, one of the things I think we can do to truly transform our relationship with our parents regardless is accept them and let them go. Let them go, release them. Since they belong to life, release them back to life. Release them back to life. Recognize that if your parents weren't the way that they were, and I'm not condoning some of the ways that they were, I'm not saying it's okay, but if your parents weren't the way that they were, if they weren't, alcoholic or, abusive or screaming, or if they weren't a certain way, you wouldn't be who you are today. And on some level, what if your soul had to go through those experiences? If life is learning and life is a school, and you and I, we are here to evolve and grow and learn. And every single experience is here to teach us more about ourselves, to help us heal, transform, and reveal more of who we really are. If your parents, if they weren't who they were, you wouldn't be who you are. And what if the way that they were and the way that they weren't was perfect preparation for your soul's evolution? Perfect preparation to get you ready to be able to learn the lessons, do the healing, have the compassion, learn the forgiveness, see the world in the way that only you can see the world, based on that lens and based on those experiences. Because if you had a different set of parents and if you had a different set of experiences, you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't see people as they are. You wouldn't have the lens and perspective that you have. So what if indeed, even though you didn't have the perfect parents, what if actually from a higher perspective, you have the perfect parents for your soul's evolution? Consider that your parents were actually perfect for your soul's evolution. That you can actually take that pain and turn it into a gift. And turn it into a gift to serve the world. You can actually take that pain and transform it into your purpose. Your parents were the perfect parents for you. And when you can recognize that your parents are the perfect parents for you, you can start moving out of victimhood. You can start moving out of stuckness and feeling sorry for them and feeling sorry for yourself and sort of blaming. And you can start taking a step back to realize if life is school and you and I are here to learn, that you and your parents, your souls perhaps, manifested each other, kind of gravitated towards each other in this lifetime to learn, to teach, to grow. So ask yourself this question. Rather than staying stuck in blame or hurt or resentment, ask yourself, what specific lessons is your soul What specific lessons is your soul seeking to learn from your parents? What are the lessons that you're seeking to learn from them? What are the lessons they're seeking to learn from you? I mean, that's their deal to decipher that. But what are the lessons that you're here to learn from them? What is it that you need to work out with them to be able to be complete, to complete your classroom with them? What is it you need to understand about yourself in relationship with them? Because if you, regardless of whether you have the ideal relationship in the physical or not, the real success and the transformation of your relationship with your parents is really the degree to which you learn the lesson and you transcend and you overcome, learn the lesson for which you and this parent's souls have been sent to each other. What if your souls were sent to each other on assignment to assist each other in growing and evolving? Maybe sometimes the classroom was very painful. Maybe it was difficult. Maybe it was challenging. What is the lesson? If you learn the lesson, you transform your relationship. Ultimately, it's about your relationship. It's about your relationship with your parent, within yourself. Whether they're dead, whether they're alive, whether they respond, whether they don't. Your relationship with your parent within yourself is where your freedom is. The last thing I'm going to say, if you really want to transform your relationship with your parent in terms of freedom, is this idea that your parents owe you nothing. I'm not saying when you were, up until 18, they didn't owe you certain things. But as an adult right now, your parents owe you nothing. They were the vessels and the vehicles through which your soul came through into this lifetime. And I'm going to propose, this might be challenging for some to hear, but I'm going to propose that just the gift of life alone was a profound gift to you. They gave you a profound gift in the gift of life. And they gave you a profound gift by being who they were and not being who they were, because if they were any different, your life would be totally different. I look at someone like an Oprah who went through so much pain and abuse and abandonment and neglect. If her life was any different, and if her parents were perfect and the ideal parents, would she have grown up to have the insight, the compassion, the perspective, the drive for healing as she now has? On one level, it had to be that way. That doesn't condone, that doesn't make it okay, but on one level, it had to be that way. When you're able to accept your parents as they are and as they aren't, it frees you. And when you're able to realize that you are no longer a victim, as an adult, you and I, we are no longer victims to what happened to us. What happened, happened. We must feel it, we must acknowledge it, we must speak it, but we must be responsible for making peace within ourselves. When you realize that, you free yourself up, and you also free yourself then in the state of acceptance to being able to receive whatever it is that they are able to give you. I mean, for the longest time, I wanted my father to be a certain way. I wanted him to love me a certain way, and I realized I was rejecting who he was. I was not open to what he was able to give me because I was so busy focused on how I wanted him to be. Your parents are your parents for a reason. Your parents don't belong to you. They belong to the universe. So, folks, honor your parents. Honor their souls. Their personalities you might not agree with, right? But honor their souls. Bless their souls. Bless their souls for being your teachers in this lifetime. Because perhaps on that deeper level, there is only love. So, love them. When you move into a deep acceptance of who they are and who they aren't, all that there really is left to do is to love them. And you don't love them to get something, just love them because that's what your heart feels to do. And when you love them, not trying to get anything from them, then you are free. Folks, if you enjoyed this short video, please do share it with your friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I will catch you soon. Love now.